Hello, everyone. So today we have our last occult Townie refresh. And of course, I had to finish this off with Vlad's home. I want to warn you in case you didn't notice the time on this video, it is a long one. It will be over an hour. So pause it, grab your snacks, grab your drink of choice. I currently have tea and apparently cannot talk. I also am dealing with some allergies, so I will be taking drinks out of this tea often. And hopefully my voice will hold up to this hour-long video because I am trying to do this in one go. So, again, it's a long build, which means it's a big build, and I really wanted to give Vlad a nice big home that maybe had a little more history to it. I will say I did design this off of a picture I found to an extent. Changes were made, of course, but inspirational home here. I just thought this looked really cool. I believe it's an AI type photo. I don't know. Or it's taken from a weird angle if it's a real home. But still liked the idea of it and decided, why not? Really, the main thing was I really liked how the outside looked. And that is what I used. The front is really it. The back is kind of basic. But he's a vampire. He doesn't go outside. Okay? Okay, he does. He goes into his cemeteries that are right there. So there's plenty of outdoor space, technically, in this lot. So I filled it. And even though I really, really struggled with getting this all to work, there was a lot of roof changes, a lot of, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And a lot of back and forth with things. And I'm going to try to show you most of that. Another reason it's a little bit of a longer video, but being this was a more complicated build, I wanted to try to share some of that with you. Now, again, I paused things and so on as I played with some of this. So you might not see the full thing. I think this would have been a 2-hour video if I hadn't been like, okay, this is going to be a long video already, and just paused it as I was recording. So if you see some changes here and there that just magically appear, that's why. But in general, I'm not editing much of this video at all unless there is like something major and you won't notice. So it's really if there's like a spot that I forgot to hit pause and got up and did something. That's where I'm going with this. So I will say this section of the house in the original photo had a roof over it, and I couldn't quite figure out how to get that to work. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to do this fencing. It changes. I spent a week doing the outside of this build. And that week consisted of about 2 hours a day at least on building this. So it may have been longer because I think I did some work on a Saturday. And usually I do 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, the outside alone for this build took me probably a total of anywhere from 12 to 15 hours to do. Now, if you're new to the Townie Refresh series, these builds only have items from the packs they are attached to and base game. So this one was a lot of fun to play with. I honestly thought it was going to be very difficult to furnish. However, it wasn't as bad as I thought. It all came together pretty dang well, so I'm happy about that. Furnishing only took me about a week and a half. Again, roughly 2 hours a day, and then, some extra time on Saturday. And I don't think I did Sunday. I did some work on some other things on that Sunday. But so probably another, I don't know, 15 hours or so on the inside. So about 30, I'll say about 30 hours total on this build. And I like it. It's usable. It's 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 interesting. I will say, if you play with these upper levels, yes, you can play with the upper levels. You'll probably want to play in walls down because the roof is annoying. When I play tested this, it was a little annoying, but I just put the walls down completely and played that way. It's just because of how I had to do the roof. But, still playable. Still playable. The other thing is you will see this slowly changing now as I realize I don't like how this looks. I want it to be different. Yeah, I change this up quite a bit, and that's part of the reason it took me so long to do this build. But I knew that was probably going to happen too. I was trying to get this to look a little more like the photo than it did as I started getting what I considered it, the outside done. I just wasn't thrilled with how it looked. So you'd see me kind of playing here with some different options, going, well, maybe I don't need to make it look exactly like how it is. So I made the tower a little bit taller, and still was not quite what I was looking for. So again, I play with this a lot. I believe I do change some of the outside even after I start furnishing, but it's not anything too drastic, I don't think. So just a heads up. If you've watched my videos before, especially the bigger builds, you know that I do that. So I also am really excited about the new pack coming out, and I hate to say this, eventually, it won't be anytime real soon because I just spent so much time on this build. Eventually, I kind of want to redo Vlad's home so that it has some of the aspects of that pack in it. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna possibly do some, build buy review videos, guys. I have some plans. At least as of right now, we'll see if it works out. I have some plans to do a video dump on Halloween and the day after. We'll see how that works. I do not have access to the pack before it comes out, so it will be, day, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I am planning on builds, of course, with the pack that will go on our Tuesday build days. And if you missed it, I do have a poll on the community tab about whether we should add a little bit of the ghost gameplay into our legacy challenge. It still won't happen for a little bit, but I'm running into the problem where I keep wanting to call her Sonia, but I don't think that's her name. Sylvie or Sylvia. I'm going to say I'm tired right now, okay? But she is going to become an adult before we have, our alien baby. I have cheated her age down a little bit, and the only reason I did that is because we're doing the Grim Challenge, and I want to finish that in this generation. We don't have to finish it before the baby's born, um, but I have aged her down. But what I was thinking is maybe I don't focus as much on that. My main thing would be making sure that our next child would become an adult before she became an elder would be nice. But I was thinking either, well, we'll see how it goes with her age, but we could move her into the next generation's home and kind of play her as a ghost and have her go through, the bucket list a little bit, because she wouldn't have been able to do the bucket list the whole time. So, and then we would release her at the end, is what my thought process was. So, if you have any thoughts on that, visit the community tab. There's a poll with yes, no, and other. And for the other, if you choose that, please leave a comment and let me know what other is. I think somebody voted on that, and I have no comments, so I don't know what the thoughts were on that. But I kind of like that idea. I don't want to get too into ghost gameplay yet, but at the same time, I do want to play with the pack a little bit. So our last generation is a ghost, and I'm also waiting to see if the challenge is updated because of the new pack. Haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure they are waiting until the pack comes out and can kind of see what's what with it. If it's not updated, we will kind of update it ourselves. But it's going to be a long time before we get to the point to use that pack, and that's why I was thinking it might be fun, since it's coming out now, to kind of incorporate some of that gameplay. All right, so here, as I said earlier, you can see me playing with this roof. I tried everything, and it's because we can't really manipulate roofs as much as I would like to, that there was a bit of an issue. But eventually I get it to where I like how it looks, and just kind of go from there. I also, just because I'm thinking about it, I do want to state, when I play tested this, I did notice that a few items disappeared. I put them back in before I'm uploading. I haven't uploaded this as a recording because I'm recording this like a week and a half before it goes up. But I did go through and fix those. I'll check them again to make sure they're all there before I upload it to the gallery. But watch out for that. There's also an area, and I'll try to point it out when we get to that point toward the end of the video, where cabinets started floating. So, yeah, just a couple little things that might show up when you download this. But other than that, there weren't any other issues. Everything seems to be playable. I think I checked everything. It's a big house, guys. I believe my count was 12 bedrooms, 13 baths. And I'm not counting the basement, I don't think, in the bedroom count. And you'll understand when you see all that. Okay, so you can see here, still playing around a bit with, roofing and everything. I really wanted this tower to be taller, like another level up from where the roof is, but we can't build that high. So sad, but it still worked out in the end. So you can see here me kind of changing how that tower is. I wanted it to stick out and be noticeable as a tower. It's really cool. I end up putting the kitchen in that area on the first floor. The second floor has a bedroom, same thing with the third floor. Yeah, I think it turns out pretty well. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the 4th floor even has 2 bedrooms in it. So I'm going to try not to talk about too much on the floors until we get to them, or I won't have anything to say at the end of this video. But here, I decided we had to do something here because the back was just so bleh. So what I decided is maybe do a chimney in that area. At first I was thinking windows, but I'm like, okay, this is a vampire house. It does have some windows, but I decided this back area will be a chimney and designed accordingly, just saying. But, in general, getting everything kind of fixed up. I did have some issues with some of the, decor outside. I just blanked on what they're called. Again, I'm tired. So I think I took some of that off, like some of this. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to figure out what it is, but you'll see an edit of the name maybe right down there. But so I think I ended up taking some of those off, but I, in general, really wanted to keep this dark, and I wanted that Victorian Gothic look. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out now. All right, so as I said, I'm going to keep it dark. Why are the windows white? So I can see them. Because when they are black, you can't see them when you're placing them very well. And some of that has to do with the lighting in this world. So I put them all in white and then changed them later on. And I think it worked out pretty well. Now this one, I tried to kind of design it in a way that it looked like it was a home that maybe Vlad could have owned before he became a vampire, or some family would have owned before that. And you'll see my thought process on this as we go through a little bit. But so it does have a lot of windows, but I also got to use a lot of fun curtains. So there's that. That's always a good thing. And so yeah, it's a house that you can have more than just vampires in. Very gothic type home, and I love it. So originally with this tower, I was thinking it'd be a great place to put the staircase. And then I realized, no, it's not going to work. So you can see me again playing with all this. And by the way, I include the floor planning part of the build in my, hours for building. So the floor plan took me a couple of days to finally figure out. So fun. I do want to warn you right now, I have once again been joined by my cat, who is attention starved, or he likes to think he is. So if you hear purring by the microphone, it's my cat. I don't think it's come through on any of the videos so far. He can get loud. He really can. He also likes to get in my face, so if I get muffled at any point, that might be why. I honestly just don't have time to go through and double check for all of that, unfortunately. Maybe one of these days I'll, get monetized and be able to pay somebody to do all my editing for me, but trying to pay somebody for an hour-long video is not going to be cheap. And I completely understand why. All right, so here you can see me just kind of trying to figure out stairs and where they're going to go, how it's going to work. I do want to state I had quite a bit of trouble with keeping that floor open and making changes. And you will see that during the video. This house was a labor of love and annoyance. But again, I enjoy what I do. So here, just kind of trying to figure out how I want this laid out. I knew kind of where I wanted Vlad's room to go. I knew I wanted, kind of like the second level is like family bedrooms. The third level is like guest rooms / activity rooms. And then the fourth level is going to be like, I designed it more of like a servant's quarters because, I pictured this house being like an old, like manor type house or something, but Victorian. Okay. So do with that what you will. I know it doesn't quite make sense, but it's fine. I also just realized like this area was so big that I was like, well, let's maybe put a master bath in here because this is going to be where Vlad's room is. So I put that there. It doesn't stay. That's all I'm saying. And I also struggled a little bit up here because I don't know what I should do. How many rooms should I put in here? Again, I knew this was going to be a very big build. So I made changes a lot. But I love how it turned out in the end. And I know I say that with all my builds, but hopefully that's the end goal is that I like what I've built, right? All right. So the other thing is I play around with these stairs quite a bit too. Just want to warn you on that one. I'm not sure how much of it is recorded or not. I know I stopped recording to play around with the various stairs at one point. But is what it is. You can see here, I'm kind of trying to figure out if I can put the stairs in a little differently and then change where this bathroom is. That didn't work. I liked it. I liked how it looked. But you couldn't use them. Or there was an issue with it. I think it was I couldn't do the walls. I couldn't do something. So I had to change those back. The other thing is this tower changes quite a bit as well. So you'll see me play with that a few times. Just trying to get, the layout figured out. In general, the outside of the house doesn't change too much. The layout is pretty much what it is here. Outside, I just play a little bit with the inside and make things a little bit bigger here and there. So nothing too crazy, I promise. But I know there was some reason I had to move those stairs, and I was very sad, but couldn't do it. So I decided instead at this point that I was going to maybe add a bathroom onto the bedroom there, something to that nature. So I also figured out here that if I tried to put a railing up and the roof came through, so I had to actually close in these stairs so that we wouldn't have roof issues. So you can see me kind of doing that right now and trying to play with it to see if I can do anything to help it. But it didn't work, so I had to change how that worked as well. But I like it. I think it's fitting, especially for the era. They were, normally closed in a little more anyway. But yeah, lots of playing, and hopefully now you understand why it took me like 12 to 15 hours just to do the build part. And I want to be transparent because I have seen in various groups that people who have started building in The Sims kind of feel like they should have it done in, 2 hours or, an hour because, well, the video is only that. But you have to keep in mind that some of these people who are building on YouTube edit their video before it goes up quite a bit. Or they've been doing it for a long time, so they can do a house in 2 hours. This size is never going to be a 2-hour build, ever. Ever. This is a prepare for. And I didn't go into great detail. A lot of my builds, honestly, don't have a ton of detail and a lot of stuff in them. And I do that on purpose. I want them to be playable for most people. This one, I will say, my computer handled it pretty well. I do not have a gaming computer. It is a higher end computer, but it is a big lot. So keep that in mind if you download this. I know I'm going to be adding this build into the occult world. I did get some pretty positive feedback about doing that. So I'm going to probably go ahead and start adding some of these builds in. If I find somewhere I'm looking at a lot and there's a couple of different options, I might put a poll up, so keep an eye out for that. But the occults will probably all be going into that world. It's just fun that way. So, yeah. I'm also thinking, and I'll probably put a poll up for this if I haven't already, on whether or not I should, as we, age up through, the world, all the townies are going to, pass on before we get to each occult pack, except for Vlad, right? The vampires we're good with, right? I just have to keep them in their houses. But maybe bringing the original townies back, because it'd be kind of fun to play with those. So I might do that. I'll probably, again, if I haven't already, put up a poll about doing that. I'm probably getting ahead of myself quite a bit because we're playing an alien next time. I don't know if I can put in townies for that. I'll have to look into that a little more and see if there's certain families that, work with that or not, because I've never played the aliens. This is going to be interesting. All right, so as you can see, I am putting in a kitchen. And you may be wondering why. Because the original had a kitchen, and every house has a kitchen. Again, this was also designed so that you could download it and use it for more than just vampires. That being said, you'll have to remove some decor. And you'll see what I mean eventually. But I really wanted to, make this look like it's a house. It's an actual house that, Vlad's lived in forever. I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking if I do redo this to add some more of the life and death stuff in, I might have to use the castle kit and make it a castle, because that would make more sense with Vlad, at least in my opinion. I picture him being a very, very old vampire. But at the same time, he did help found the town, so I don't know how old he's actually supposed to be. I can't think of, the lore right now. If you know, leave a comment. I'd like to know without having to do research, because I have other things to do right now. All right, anyway, so this is what I meant by you'll have to remove some decor. I put spider webs and stuff into every room that I considered a not used by Vlad room. Now, that being said, the guest rooms I talked about earlier do not have spider webs in them. But some of the other rooms do. Because I kind of picture, Vlad's an old vampire. And he may be a little bit of a loner, but he's got to know some other vampires, right? So maybe they come to visit him. So what I consider the family rooms also include what I'm going to label as guest rooms. So, all right. So again, also, I tried to use as much from the vampires pack as possible. I will say, I really wish that they had more darker colors. I would love to see them do a refresh of this pack and give us some more color options, or at least finish some color options, because there are some colors that we have a couple things for and then nothing else matches it, and it drives me nuts. There's a couple of instances where I wanted to use a certain color and I couldn't because I just didn't have enough stuff to make it look right. So you'll see some of that later on as well. Mostly like bedroom stuff, but I also did want to keep this as a very dark room, very dark home to an extent. But in the bedrooms, you'll kind of see where that changes a little bit, but not too much. I don't think I did anything too bright here. So, all right. So moving on from the kitchen and dining, which of course Vlad doesn't use, we're going to jump over to the living room. And one thing I tried to do was make this more of a house that could be off the grid. I think I do have a few lights in here, but there's no TVs, no radios. You know, it's a very simple home. Most of the lighting is candles. So that's what I meant by, you could probably do this as an off the grid lot if you wanted to, just for fun. I'm trying to think what else. Just kind of like I said, decorating this with, bookshelves. Of course, Vlad's big photo of himself that appears numerous times in this build. The other thing I want to say is there's not as much vampire decor as I would have liked. It does have a decent amount. It's just, I don't know, I found it lacking a little bit. I also used these curtains a few times. They work pretty well on these windows, but they don't work as well on a couple of the others. I really wanted to use them in a couple instances because, again, talking about coloring, these curtains had the one color I was looking for, where the other ones I ended up having to use do not. So, my complaint about this pack. I was not doing a YouTube channel when this came out, years ago. So, I'm putting in my input now. All right, so good news is we're almost halfway through this video. So, if your drinks run out, pause it, go grab that, and come back. This is your, hydration check. All right, so here again, living room. I wanted to create a couple of sitting areas. Again, because of the time period of this home, Victorian type era, they tended to have different areas to sit and do things. That was just kind of how it went, especially in these larger, more high class homes. So that's kind of where I went with that. This room is going to be an office, and I really thought it was cute. It was just a little room. Originally, I thought it would be cool to have this as like an entry into another room. I was thinking at one point of putting the kitchen and dining over on this side of the house. And then I decided, no, I don't want to do that. I'll make it like a cute little office. And I think that worked out well. I do want to state there is a little glitch. I think it's with the floor in this room. I have one of these love seats, sofas, whatever you want to call them, kind of covering it. So if you notice that, I am aware it's there. It's the rounded room thing. So unfortunately, not much I could do about it. All right, so we have some more photos. I will say I do like the photos and how there's, various different poses that aren't necessarily, well, this is a vampire. I like that. That's kind of nice. But not very useful when I'm trying to design just a vampire home as well. But it was useful for that look of this might have been, a home he had when he was alive. So, yeah, I'm still not. I probably should have looked a little more into the lore before doing this. But I'm still not sure, was he a vampire when this was founded? Or was he not? Again, if you know the answer to these questions, put them in the comments. Because I want to know. So originally, too, I had planned on having the entry here open. And then I realized it was very empty. And it drove me nuts. So I blocked off this area. And made this like an entry hall. There is a bathroom off to the side. And it is the only bathroom that has a mirror, I believe. There might be one more. I might have done one more with a mirror. But, they're vampires. They don't need a mirror. But maybe occasionally people show up to his house. So he has a mirror on the main floor. So it doesn't look weird. We're going to go with that. But I think I end up playing with these stairs some more. That's all I'm saying. I had to close these in because I forgot, of course, that to hang the chandelier, I have to have, a ceiling to hang it from. But I also added this other little seating area. Made it seem kind of weird in there, but I'm like, something has to go in here. And we just didn't have a whole lot. I debated about putting an organ in there, but like that's an awful lot there. I kind of like it where I'm putting it more. So, all right. So back here we have that little area is kind of the entrance to the basement. So you'll see that later. So kind of going through putting in all the flooring because I forgot. And playing around a little bit. I really tried to kind of make this look a little more finished. I will let you know the photos at the end. On the main floor, the ceiling in this stairwell is not showing up as having ceiling on there. It's white, but I did it. It shows that it's there. I don't know what the problem was. So here you can see I decided the organ was going to go here. And I really wanted to kind of make a big statement with this organ, but then I decided, no, that's just not going to work. Put a photo of Vlad up instead. That's what I did with it. It still looks kind of important, but it isn't quite so weird. That's how I'm going to put it. It looked weird to me the way it was. But if you liked it, you can easily put those little columns back in. Alright, so again, just kind of furnishing this hallway a little bit because it was so empty. I, of course, put in quite a few of those nights because I could. It's really it. I could. So this room here, I wanted to do a blue. I really wanted to use kind of more of the teal blue in one of these, but that's the one that didn't have a whole lot that matched it. So I ended up putting in this blue one. Now, that being said, I just realized that I put in the wrong curtains in this room. If I remember to go in, because these were a couple of the curtains that were deleted. The more I think about it, I'm wondering if it was those in general that all got deleted, so I'll have to double check that. If I forget, I apologize, but I'm going to try to look it over. So, that is one of the guest rooms. This room is going to be a nursery. And I know you're thinking a nursery. Again, family lived here at one point. We're going to say that. And maybe this was set up as a nursery room. And yeah. Yeah, so I would state, and I might go back and do this as a room. I don't know if I'm going to video it. I might do a short with it, with the new nursery pack. That would be kind of fun to redo this with, as an actual, like, usable room. I'll keep the spider webs out of that one, but I might do that. So yeah, I might go ahead and do that, just so that you guys have some easy add-in options if you download this. Just because we have the pack, and it has some really cool, like, gothic, stuff in it. But again, this is a vampires and base game only build, so I couldn't use it. Alright, so here you can see me trying to use this kind of more like blue teal color. And I already knew the beds didn't have anything with it. So I thought maybe I'll do this and with like a gray. And I realized pretty quickly that that probably wasn't going to work. So I went with green instead. And I like it. I think it's a cute build. So it's green and gray. And I think it works. I think here I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do, different walls and then other colors as the green accent. I couldn't make up my mind with this. Luckily, I ended up having to pause it or stop recording because I had to go to work and think about it a little more. So you see it come together now. But this is where I kind of realized, like, those curtains didn't look quite right with those windows. So I may check that if I need to. They may end up staying, now that I think about it, with what they are. So this room is a library, and you can see I kind of struggled with what bookcases to use here. And it was here I decided, you know what, this library needs a fireplace, and we're just going to throw one in right here. And it works. There is no chimney attached to this. I'm not going that into detail on it. I just forgot to attach a chimney. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to go back and add it either. But I wanted to create kind of a nice little, like, library. It's almost like a study space. Just to fill the space, that it is what it is. We'll just say, Vlad likes to research. What else is he going to do with all this time he has? He's immortal. We're going to, go with that route. But I will say I struggled a bit, you can see, to make this not be too much of a bunch of seating areas. It was starting to feel not like a home, but like, library. So I wanted to make it more of a home. So we're going to say Vlad comes in here and does research. Books everywhere, things like that. Not too crazy, but again, if you have the book nook kit, I would recommend cluttering this up a little more, because that's kind of the look I was going for. All right. Lighting was also difficult in this one. I couldn't figure out where to put the lighting for this library, so I might have gone overboard with it, but sorry, not sorry. I also struggled a bit with rugs. I think I play around with it a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure I kept that rug. I may have. But yeah, rugs are another issue. I wish we had a few more in this pack, even though we have some of the nicer ones that you can, put together. So that's helpful. Okay, so this is Vlad's room. And I debated about putting curtains on this door, but we're just going to say that the door's fine and leave it at that. So, bedroom. I thought we're going to make this a very grand master. You can see I put this is the bathroom area. It's going to have a closet. I know it's kind of a little more modern touches, but we'll say that maybe he decided to have somebody come in and update a little bit. Not much. Or maybe that's just the way it was. But we're going to go with what I put in because I put it in and I'm not changing it. That's how that's going to work. All right, so you can see me again here kind of playing with rugs and how I wanted all the look. I decided with Vlad, I wanted to make this a kind of a black and gray room. Again, because the Vampires pack, even though it's kind of like a gothic, it doesn't have as much black in it as I thought it would. And maybe that's just because it doesn't show well on the screen. And so having the shades works out a little bit better. I like it. I think it works. You can see me here playing with what to do with this, table and these candles. And I decide, no, we'll just go with these ones because it was starting to get a little too weird with the other idea. And I think this works well. There's a little seating area. And a little outside access if you decide not to play with this with vampires. I mean, I believe Vlad is able to go out in the sun, so it's not as big of a deal with him anyway. But I think this master's fun. It was fun building it and trying to design it and figure it all out. He kind of strikes me as a man who wants to learn, as much as he can. So I have a lot of bookshelves in the rooms he would be in. Right. So here, just working on the master bathroom and figuring out how that's going to work. I decided storage was a big thing, so I put in the vampire's cabinet, and you can see instead of mirrors, I put candles in the bathrooms. I believe I did that with like all of them that don't have mirrors. So, and I will say the master is the only bathroom I show you that I decorate. Eventually you'll see the other ones just fill in as I went ahead and just did them. Most of them are just, honestly, I did 1 or 2 different bathrooms and filled them in and changed color. So it wasn't like it was, you're missing out on much. This is already over an hour long video. I didn't think you wanted me to show you bathrooms. So, but it's my normal. If you've watched my videos before, you know that's something I do. Just to help cut down on time. If I'm doing a smaller home, I'll show you the bathrooms. But usually there's only one anyway. Or maybe 2. So, not a big deal. All right, so to the next level, you can see the bathroom's done there. And this is another one of the guest rooms. It's the only one on this floor. And I don't know, I kind of pictured it as maybe, this was like where, the mother would be. Because if you know anything about inheritance and how that worked, usually the mother, if the father passes before she does, moves into another room and out of the master stuff. I mean, usually there's more than one bedroom too, but that's kind of how that worked. So that was kind of what I pictured this maybe being, is that this was her room where it's nice and quiet. And, she could relax there. I know it's a lot of stairs, but keep in mind, they didn't think about all that way back then. It was, it was what it was. And most of the time, the women were younger. So moving on to this kind of hallway, again, another seating area. I decided here to add what I'm going to kind of call a storage room. I debated about making it like another bedroom, but I figured we already had enough. So that little area ends up being like a storage room. You could use it for anything. If you want to move, a family into this would probably make a good little like study room for the kids. Where you could put a desk in there, that type of thing. Possibly another bathroom if you wanted it. A couple of things, but I made it a storage room because, again, though I wanted to make it easy for you to use with a family, it's designed for Vlad. So I did think about in here creating a little like room, mostly just to put like a doorway in or something on that wall, but I decided that was silliness and it looked really weird when you had the walls down. So, the 3/4 walls or whatever that's called. So I decided not to do that and just put up like a gallery of photos. And then a little desk area over here in that hallway. There's not a lot in the hallway. Again, just kind of, leaving space for things. So if you have other packs and you want to add to this house, you have space. Here I decided to do an art room. And I love it. Again, this would be a great room to redo with the new art kit, but couldn't use it, so base game only it is. It still looks cute. I still love this. I don't know if Vlad's an artist or not, but we had to have an art. So that is what I did here. It could easily be turned into a bedroom. There's an attached bath. Same thing with the next room, because the next room is also not a bedroom. This one I decided to turn into like a game room. I did debate about putting in like a almost like ballroom type thing, but we don't have dance floors in the base game. So I kind of went, maybe not. So I put in a game room with a little bar instead. And just kind of fill this in, put a few things in here. Again, hopefully leaving a little bit of room if you decide to download this and play in it and want to add some game stuff that isn't in base game or vampires. So, in fact, I don't think vampires has any game stuff. So, alright, so you can see here I'm playing with this room a little bit. As I said, storage room, so it's got like different debug storage stuff in it, tables. I tried to use mostly debug in that because I didn't want them going in to try to use much of it, but I believe one of those is an actual storage chest. Alright, so I also thought it would be kind of cool to have a spot where there are some urns. I put in base game urns up here, I think. One might be a vampire, but we're going to say that, those are something that's important to Vlad. More urns make an appearance later. Not too many more, but a couple more. Alright, so this is the top level, and this is what I'm considering the servants' quarters. So this would have been where the servants of the house lived. And so it's very basic. Lots of just, beds. Lots of beds. That's what I'm going with on this one. So you could easily play this with like, live-in servants if you have that mod. And, have them all live there. There's plenty of space. I don't know how many you can hire at once, but plenty of space. Or you could make this a, another set of just bedrooms. These would work well as kids' rooms. You may want to take out all of the spider/cobwebs I put in as well. I didn't try to go too overboard because, again, I wanted you to be able to easily delete if needed. But, so I put in a little desk because servants would have an area like that. I did put in little like changing areas you can see here. I just thought that was fun. So the one room is definitely for the women. The other two rooms are for the men. And this room I pictured as like the housekeeper's room. So she's got a desk of her own hers is a little more upscale. Not by much, but a little bit. She's got a little more stuff in there. And so she would be here and able to keep an eye on the rest of the staff fairly easily. What I pictured, the second room in the tower was maybe the butler's rooms, and then you had what they'd consider footmen in the smaller room. And then your maids are in the other tower room. So these cabinets here, where I'm putting the cobwebs right now, those are the ones that were floating. So if you notice that, sorry. I don't know why the game did that, but it did. Oh, I do kind of show you some of this bathroom. But yeah, cobwebs everywhere because Vlad doesn't use that floor at all, is kind of my thought process there. So you can see me putting into all of these knights because I could. That's really it. All right, so the basement / crypt area. Again, this is designed as it would have been with the house when he was alive or somebody was alive, attitude. And I think it's fun. I did not put a whole lot in here. I wanted to leave some of these rooms for you guys to expand on as you play the game. But of course, Vlad does have the place of honor in here, and you'll see me start working on that eventually. I wanted originally to maybe do some stairs just to create some interest, but I noticed it wasn't working. So I decided about here that I was going to make a little bit of a change, and of course this is going to be where Vlad sleeps. So I wanted to make it a little more something. Now, this room I just floored. That is where the cook would have slept. That's how I'm going to put that because she needed to be closer to the kitchen than the top floor. So I just say that's the cook. There's plenty of room for more if you do like a live-in system. You could put another bed down there. There's room for it. All right, so here you can see me putting in these weird walls, and it's because the game would not work with me. That's really what happened there. So I had to like wall off this in a strange way, but it's not too bad. The walls kind of stay like that, but it's a basement. It's fine. You could put closets in there if you really wanted to. If you wanted to use these as bedrooms, you could do it. But I decided Vlad really needed like something more. So he gets the 2-story, section here that's all about Vlad. And I like it. I did have to expand it a little bit more than what you see here, but it works out. I really think it's fitting for Vlad. Again, I just wanted something that screamed, I'm important, or at least I think I am. So, then here, again, wanted something, so I put a couple of urns there. We're going to say they're, vampire family, vampire friends. We're going to pretend that Vlad is not the loner he seems. That's what I was going for with this. That maybe he's the way he is because he lost his family, okay? And again, I didn't look into his lore, and I should have, but I had a thought, and that was what I was going with. All right, so again, you can kind of see me here playing with the candle lighting. These 2 rooms here are storage rooms again, but you could easily make them like little bedrooms or whatever you want. If you do a family and you decide to bring an electric, you could put TVs down here easily. I mean, you can remove the big, huge picture of Vlad and put a TV there too, but in the living room, I should specify where. There's a couple of big pictures of Vlad. But yeah, you can see here, again, this is a room he doesn't use. There's no reason for it. He doesn't eat. The cook got fired. All right, so And I picture it being a woman. I don't know why. I just do. But yeah, I didn't want to go too crazy in this basement, but I think it has that look of, you know, an older basement. I really do. I do like how it turned out. I really debated about doing more like levels with this, but I really didn't want to go too crazy because I know when I play in a house, if it has a lot of levels, it drives me nuts. And this one's already 5. So I didn't want, I'm not including Vlad's area in that statement, by the way. Um, but yeah, this has a lot of levels already. Now, I would completely understand if you wanted to remove a level, but have fun trying to redo the house. I would maybe just block it off if you don't want your Sims going up, to a certain part. Just wall it off and take the stairs out. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, sometimes they're fun to play in. It's just a lot of up and down. All right, so as you can see, kind of finishing up the build, trying to see what I might have missed, adding in some landscaping here. I really wanted this to look like it's kind of an older. He doesn't really care about the outside because, he only goes out there at night. So everything's very dead looking and I love it. I really do love how this all turned out. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do all this, but these vines are awesome. And really does complete the look of this house. I also did not do a lot on, like, outside on these patios. I didn't put anything out there because, again, I'm going to say Vlad doesn't really go out there and do anything. If you want to put stuff out there, go ahead because it will be your build at that point. But I'm just going to say he doesn't go out and do much often, so he likes to sit inside, play his organ, and play chess. And I say chess because when I loaded this into playtest, that's what he was doing. So we're going with that route. All right, so just still, working on landscaping. I wanted to add a tree here. I struggled a bit with what ones to put in because some of these just looked way too green when compared to everything else around it. So, yeah. Eventually I get it figured out. And, it looks good. I wanted kind of a little bit of an overgrown look, but not too crazy. And I think I managed to pull that off. All right, so getting in the lighting. Very dark house, even at night because I did the candles outside. Don't mind it if you notice I put them in weird. I do go back and fix them so they're all level. But I wanted this to look kind of cool at night so that you can, enjoy it. I will state it really does look pretty cool from the other lots. I actually do have a picture from the Vitor household that I took of this, and you will be able to check that out on the community tab. If not today, very soon. All right, so here's the finished product, and I think I'm just going to let you guys take a look at the pictures, and I will be right back. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this build and you're still here with me. If you are, comment Vlad in the comments below. I really did have fun doing this build, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I'm going to be honest, my voice is about ready to die at this point. So I'm going to let you go. Don't forget to check out the Occult Legacy Challenge that might be posting early. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I will let you know if I do post that early because I'm planning so many fun things for the new expansion pack. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye now.